All right, guys, you can see right here on the active target, those are all suspended crappies out in front of the boat. These would be shooting directly underneath the boat in traditional, sonar and down scan. And you can see the GPS track we're on. So when I aim this arrow on the top, I can swing it at various places with the trolling motor and show where there's various fish in the water column. And as it swings around and starts pointing over this way, you'll see some over there. And that's why I'm not worried too much about following that, because once we look through here, there's fish all over. So I'm just gonna throw out, let it go down to the bottom, or not the bottom, but as you can see, they're up six to 8 feet below the surface. So I'm counting it down, basically a 10 count, and just barely start retrieving it back. And I already got one, just like that. And that's why we do that. But I don't have to stare at that now like I might have to do if I was fishing for individual fish. I'm not. I'm fishing around a whole school of fish, and it's more fun to just pay attention to the fishing and not necessarily the graph. So I don't have to stand here and stare at this all day like I might do if I was fishing for an individual smallmouth or, something fun like that. If you're fishing for a muskie, you would use that tool, that active target or live sonar, forward-facing sonar, whatever you want to call it. You would use that tool a lot different. But in this scenario, I've got schools of fish. I've already determined basically where they are. The only thing I'll use it to do is if we quit getting bites, like, oh, I had that one and lost him. If we quit getting bites, then we'll use it again to go relocate them. But I suspect for the remainder of this afternoon, now that the weather is stabilized, that these fish won't go anywhere. And you can see how suspended, all of them are suspended between 6 and 8 feet all through the water column right there. Those ones are over here. We'll see if we can verify that. So throw it over there to where, because the arrow's pointed over there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now I'll just start really slowly retrieving it back. And I'm not even worried about keeping it in the sonar beam. I know it's basically around some fish, and I know they're biting. Got that one, just like that. And I don't care who you are, that's fun right there. It's just a simple crappie bite, and sometimes that's the most fun a guy can have fishing, is to just go out and catch a whole pile of fish. And we already have some fish that we'll eat. These aren't as big as we'd want to for dinner, but I love these things. They're kind of a frankenfish. You can see I smashed that hook already. I did that with a 5-pound mudfish. But at any rate, we're gonna see if we can catch some of these. That's pretty fun. Dude, I think you can put any sort of a little 16th ounce jig, and
that's what I got.
That little power swimmer would be good too. I have a 2-inch power swimmer. It would also be good.
I just had to put a new leader on and everything.
That's not a crappie either. Oh, maybe it is, yeah. I thought maybe that one was a bass.
Well, he jumped, I thought it was a bass.
Yeah, it came up and jumped, and you don't generally have crappies that do that, and you can see how far away from the boat he was, and they are choking this thing, dude, every one of them. I mean, it's just choking it. And I think I made a good bait call. If you notice, I got a really natural color and kind of a perchy color, and the reason I have that is because this water's clear, for one. We know there's perch and bluegills in here, for two. And so I didn't want any sort of a hot color. You know, everybody likes bright colors, I get it, but I didn't feel like it was necessary here. I have them in chartreuse in the box. I have them in red. I have white ones. I have one that I really like that's basically clear with glitter in it. It's called Silver Bullet. It's one of my favorite colors in this particular bait, especially in the clear water. And I'm sure we can catch some with that as well. I'm gonna go pull the boat out off the weed line here. We got too shallow. And I want to point out that one thing I am using right now is one of my absolute favorite fishing rods. Oh, come on, Chad. One of my absolute favorite fishing rods. It's a 6'10", medium light, extra fast Xenon. You got the Abu Garcia MG Extreme. It's a couple-year-old reel at this point, but man, it's one of my favorites of all time. I've got 8-pound Berkeley X9 braid, and then I've got a 6-pound Trillium 100% fluorocarbon leader and a 16th ounce 1 3/4 inch power switch. And this combo for me is normally what I would say a gulp minnow rod. So it's almost always got either a 16th or an 1/8 ounce jig head on it. And I got that one. And it's an incredibly sensitive rod, and it's incredibly lightweight rod, and it's perfect for catching crappies one after the other. He choked it again.
I think they like that bait.
Yeah, I think that's one way to put it. So one of the things I look at with any lure is value, and one of the things about this power switch is I was partially responsible for the durability testing. This thing will last a very long time. So if you got kids you're fishing with, you're not constantly re-rigging a minnow body or a gulp body or a bait of any kind, and yet you can still just keep waylaying fish with it. Just tell them to throw it out and wind it. You know, give it to Johnny and say wind it as slow as you can. And little Johnny's gonna catch a whole bunch of fish with it, whether you're around stock or trout or crappies or bluegills or small bass in a pond somewhere, or bigger bass with the bigger version of it. But it's so durable, I can just keep fishing. I would have gone through already in an hour, I would have gone through probably an entire bag of gulp minnows just because I'm getting so many bites. Okay, so they'll bite the clear one too. This is the Starry Night one. This one would be. Okay guys, I switched baits, and that's the Starry Night, or excuse me, that is the Silver Bullet color. And that's the color that I've had really good success with. We're gonna put that fish back. But one of the keys to this bait, if you look, it's got a big dense head in here, and it's reflective for your sonar really well. So it's easy to see it on the sonar, particularly in the bigger versions of the bait. It's really easy to see, and that's a big part of it. You can keep track of the bait as it sinks. So count it down, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then just barely start winding it. And the farther I throw it from the boat, the slower it'll sink, because it's got more line to pull down through the water. Got him. There you go, just like that. That's a pretty good trick.
It's pretty good fun.
That's pretty good. And that's a decent one there too. So definitely got figured out how to catch all of them. People say, well, how many fish did you catch? All of them today. Come here, hold still, hold still. And the thing about crappies that, you know, they're known as a paper mouth and this, that, and the other, and they're very delicate fish. I have had crappies in captivity before, and they're very social fish. They're kind of fun to watch, and they're, in my opinion, one of the prettiest fish you can catch. And they're kind of cartoonish. They're big round fins and everything. I'm a big fan of crappies. I wish we had more of them in my home region. They're pretty prolific around here, huh?
Oh yeah. I think crappies are probably second only to walleyes as far as the people that I know that fish for fish.
Right.
To eat. And they're delicious and fun to catch.
And fun to catch, right on cue.
But I think they're hugely popular.
Yeah. And you got to think, with as many of them as there are out there, there's a little bit of competition that goes on. Got him, there we go. You can probably see that rod tip bump just a little bit. That's a nice one there.
That's a nice one there.
Yeah, that'd be a dinner fish for sure.
Oh yeah.
And
he's a little bigger.
yeah, that's a good one right there. And he's got that perfect little bait. I mean, that thing just looks like a crappie bait. When you look at a crappie, that looks like a crappie bait to me.